Suthichai Live English. My guest today, an old friend, Kun Term Sak Chalerm Palanuprap, Senior Visiting Fellow and Acting Coordinator of the Thailand Study Program at ISIS Yusuf Ishak Institute in Singapore. Hello, Kun Term Sak. สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีครับคุณสุทธิชัยครับ
Yeah, so welcome to my program. And of course, you have been watching Thailand from Singapore, from outside in the past many years. Tell us what you're doing today as a scholar in Singapore. What do you concentrate on and what kind of coordination that you are working on for the Thailand study program in Singapore?
Well, this is the Institute of Southeast Asian Study. It is fully funded by Singapore government. So in my Thailand study program, we try to help explain Thailand to the Singaporean, to the people outside of Thailand. And for myself, I concentrate on explaining or trying to explain Thai politics.
I see that you write a column, occasional column for the South China Morning Post, right?
Well, sometimes they just lift some of our articles.
I see. And how active is the Thailand study program?
Well, we have myself as a only full-time researcher, and then we have two part-time fellow. One of them you may know, Kun Napon Jatu Sripitak.
Oh, Napon, yes.
Yeah, and then another one, Dr. Paul Chamber at Naresuan University. So we are a very small group, but then we are still trying to build up our group so that we can explain Thailand better. As you know, Singapore is very interested in Thailand because Singapore is always looking for investment opportunity, and Thailand happened to be one of the top priorities.
Yes. Kun Term Sak, by the way, has a long experience in regional affairs. He was a journalist before, and then he joined the ASEAN Secretariat, and then he became a scholar, a researcher. So how has the journey in life been for you, Kun Term Sak, now that you are officially retired, but still working very actively in the field of research on regional affairs?
Well, I should like to mention that Kun Suthichai was the one who accepted me into the nation in late 1972.
Wow.
So I learned journalism from Kun Suthichai. But then I think being a journalist, you would not have enough time for family.
Oh, right.
So once I started a family, I need to move on, and I moved to ASEAN Secretariat.
Yeah.
At the ASEAN Secretariat, I work on the political security side of ASEAN. So I follow ASEAN Foreign Minister, ASEAN Defense Minister, ASEAN Security Cooperation. So mostly on the political security side. So basically, it's a continuation of my journalism.
Yes.
Because in the past, when we were journalists, we sat outside ASEAN meetings, and wondering what was happening inside.
Yes.
And when I joined ASEAN Secretariat, I was inside the meeting and I saw what's happening.
Okay.
I got better understanding of why ASEAN is so slow.
So was it a big difference between being an outsider looking in and an insider looking out?
I think being an outsider, we tend to be impatient.
Yeah.
We want to see more action by ASEAN.
Right.
But once inside, I got better understanding. I saw many limitations.
Yeah.
And how ASEAN has to work with so many limitations. So better understanding of ASEAN.
More patient.
Yes.
When you were at the ASEAN Secretariat, Kun Surin Pisuwan was the Secretary General?
Yes, I served as his special assistant in the first year when he joined.
Oh, yeah.
And then after that, I was promoted as a director for political and security cooperation. But I still work closely with Kun Surin Pisuwan.
Well, it's a pity that, his departure was too soon. He was a very valuable diplomat from Thailand. How was it working with Dr. Surin in your personal experience?
Well, Dr. Surin came as an idealist, and then he was quite taken aback by the limitation that he suddenly found once he was inside the ASEAN system.
I know.
For example, most of the ASEAN foreign ministers did not want him to speak for ASEAN.
So how did he manage that?
Well, he was quite disappointed that they could not do more.
Right.
When we had our conflict with Cambodia, for example, he could not do anything.
So how did he sort of navigate the conflicting opinions from ASEAN members? That must be quite frustrating for him.
Yes, it was. And since he was a former foreign minister, he was more interested in ASEAN political, security, foreign policy.
Right.
He knew little about economic cooperation, finance, so many other functional areas. And so he found himself quite underutilized.
Right. But then he was known to be a very effective Secretary General from the outside of ASEAN because he managed during the Nagis crisis in Myanmar, he managed to convince the military government then to allow assistance from the outside in. Was that his big achievement?
Yes, certainly that was the crowning achievement of Dr. Surin Pisuwan.
Yes.
And unfortunately, it cannot be replicated in the current Myanmar crisis.
No. But for you,
I think he was overqualified to lead the ASEAN Secretariat.
Overqualified. It was underutilized.
Underutilized and overqualified. And yet he tried to build up ASEAN Secretariat because he saw the importance of having the center of ASEAN operation at the ASEAN Secretariat.
Yes.
His objective, he called it, to build ASEAN Secretariat as a network secretariat, so that it hold and it can distribute information on ASEAN to all stakeholders in all member states.
But for you, it was a very valuable experience, right?
Yes, certainly.
What did you learn most from that experience at the ASEAN Secretariat?
Personally, I learned the importance of having ASEAN, a successful, effective ASEAN, and the usefulness of ASEAN that Thailand or Thai government has not been able to utilize. I see how Singapore can very effectively make use of ASEAN to support or to complement Singapore's own foreign policy. I think this tends to be an overlooked regional instrument in the eyes of Thai politicians. I think most Thai politicians don't understand ASEAN at all.
So what should Thailand do now with ASEAN, in your opinion? Any suggestions?
Well, at least Prime Minister Suthichai talk about relocating or re-exerting Thailand on the regional international radar, I think he should start from ASEAN.
Right.
Because Thailand used to be one of the most important voices in ASEAN.
Right.
And remember, ASEAN came to existence in Thailand. It's the brainchild of Kun Thanat Korman.
Yes. Yes.
So ASEAN has a Thai political DNA.
Yeah. Well, one of the Singaporean scholars called Thailand the midwife of ASEAN, in fact.
Yes.
Right? So we are underutilizing ASEAN.
Yes, certainly. But you look at Vietnam. Vietnam is a communist economy, and yet after joining ASEAN, Vietnam could effectively use the ASEAN brand name to attract international investment into Vietnam.
So what should Prime Minister Sethar do about ASEAN from Thailand's position? How can we more effectively make use of ASEAN in helping rebuild Thailand's economy?
Well, first of all, he can inform all cabinet members to pay more attention to ASEAN activities. ASEAN has cooperation activities that involve almost every ministry in the Thai government.
Yeah.
So whenever there is an ASEAN meeting, it should be seen as an opportunity for Thailand to advance Thai national interest through the ASEAN mechanism.
But what's wrong? You mean the Thai government?
As far as I could see when I was in the ASEAN Secretariat, the Thai delegation tend to take ASEAN work as an additional burden.
Burden, not benefit.
Extra work that they would not want to do beyond their normal routine duty.
So they have,
and that's why implementation in Thailand sometimes is lacking. And so, certainly we don't have any initiative in ASEAN.
No,
I think that's another serious shortcoming. If we are the second largest economy in ASEAN, we should have louder voice about economic cooperation in ASEAN.
So, Kun Sethar, the Prime Minister, has not visited all ASEAN countries since he took office yet. But
he spent more time in Europe, though.
Yeah. How do you see that? Because I myself was quite surprised that he went to France, the second time in 3 months. But he has not visited ASEAN, all the ASEAN countries yet. How do you see that?
I think that is the wrong strategy. If you want to emphasize reviving Thailand's so-called soft power, you have to start from your own regional neighborhood. Start from ASEAN. Inside ASEAN, Thailand used to be quite effective and influential, especially during the Kampuchean conflict in the 80s.
Yes.
We used to be the leader of ASEAN during the Kampuchean conflict. But now we are not leading anything in ASEAN.
No. So what is your advice to Prime Minister Sethar about ASEAN? How should he handle it? I mean, it's still time, it's only 10 months in office.
Well, for a start, I think Thailand can help Laos this year, the ASEAN chair country, because Laos need a lot of help to be an effective ASEAN chairman. And certainly Thailand has a lot of expertise, a lot of resources that can be sent to help Laos. I think that's one very low-hanging fruit that Thailand can reach out. And then Thailand can also look at the current agenda in ASEAN. What are the urgent issues? What can Thailand do to help resolve some of the urgent issues?
The the new leaders in ASEAN, Singapore just had Lawrence Wong, Indonesia, we have a new president. Yeah, you think Kun Sethar should, connect with them immediately? And
Yeah, certainly. I think that would be a good strategy. Since he has a lot of time for overseas trip, I think he should plan some in our ASEAN neighborhood.
yeah, and it's very short trip, you don't waste too much time. And you can do it, in fact, in 2 days for each country.
Yes, I think within ASEAN, personal relations are very important. And I think Kun Sethar would be effective because he is quite a charming person.
Yeah.
He's quite articulate.
Yeah.
But then he has to let themselves be known, introduce himself to the new generation of leaders in our ASEAN neighborhood, ASEAN region.
Well, we just lost the foreign minister, and then we have a new foreign minister within 9 months, 10 months. And how do you see the Thai foreign policy at the moment? Is there enough continuity from the Kun Panpri to Kun Marit?
I think it's still too early to make any call. But I listened to Kun Panpri when he talked to Kun Suthichai, and I admire his integrity that he decided to quit. I think the common criticism or complaint is that Thailand has no firm principle foreign policy. We just want to stay neutral.
What does the word neutral?
Without sticking to any principle. And that is quite obvious, and that seems to be our structural weakness in our own society. Also, we tend to shy away from taking any principle position. And the Thai media, especially, I think they're always afraid of taking any firm position on anything. And they admire someone who can avoid conflict, someone who don't confront anyone.
Well, we were proud to be called a bamboo diplomat. We were quite successful, we claim, in the past, of bending with the wind. Is that strategy still effective for Thailand? We bend with the wind, and even Vietnam is talking about bamboo diplomacy. But when Vietnam talks about bamboo diplomacy, they talk about being firm, meaning that the wind may come, but they remain unbroken, meaning that they have a position to take.
Well, bamboo will be stronger when they are together in the big bush.
Yes. But
also, I think we have to believe in some principle in international relations. And if we just bend with the wind, then we can be blown into a different direction in any given time, unpredictable, unreliable, and then not to be respected in international community.
Well, I was trying to be sympathetic with Prime Minister Sethar when he just announced a few days ago in a public forum that we will concentrate on doing business. We will not have conflicts with anyone. We will be neutral like Switzerland because we have this land bridge project, and everyone can come. Since we have no conflict with anyone, all the big powers will come to make use of our land bridge. Do you think that sounds sensible?
Maybe he is thinking like a business person.
Yeah.
As a government leader, he is not leading a business. He's leading a government. He is leading a Thai nation, so to speak. So I think the Thai nation stands for more than business and profit. I think the Thai nation, the Thai people should stand for some principle that we think we all human beings should uphold.
Geopolitics is very real, under the present circumstances. And if the Prime Minister calls himself salesman, he believes in just selling Thailand's name, flying around the world to invite foreign investors. And back home, he keeps talking about investment and he doesn't want to discuss foreign policy in any serious way. So you think that is our drawback at the moment?
Yes, certainly. And also there is some disconnection. If you want people to come and invest, come and do business with Thailand, you have to firm up rule of law within our Thai society, within our Thai justice system. What I see, I'm very disappointed to see, is the very inefficient, ineffective justice system in Thailand. And with this shortcoming, I don't think many foreign investors want to put their money in our Thai economy.
So the issue is rule of law, lack of good governance, accountability, even corruption. Is corruption an issue you're looking from the outside? It's still
well, corruption is just the end result of lack of rule of law. And it's a big disappointment to see that after nearly 8 years of Kun Prayut Chan-o-cha as the Prime Minister, he did not do anything to improve the rule of law in Thailand. And just look at our national police force. The number 1, number 2, all being suspended for their connection with some underground online gambling operations.
Well, the government is talking about, you mentioned casino, online gambling. They're now going to legalize gambling and setting up a huge entertainment complex that would include casino, claiming that this would boost the economy. But you mentioned the lack of rule of law and enforcement of law. Would you say that the legalization of casino would even make things worse?
Certainly, it will worsen everything. You should look at the fact that we have government-run lottery. And it did not stop people from betting underground, right? And if we are going to have a legal casino, will it stop people from setting up their own underground casino to continue to gamble?
They will do both.
It will only encourage people to set up more underground gambling dens.
Yes. But the Thai government says, Malaysia has casino, Singapore has casino, Laos, Cambodia, they all have casino. What's wrong with Thailand? We also have casinos.
Because we have too many underground gambling dens already. And you are not going to attract additional tourists to come.
Why not?
I don't think many international tourists want or look for gambling when they come to Thailand. Thailand has so many things to offer. We don't need legal casino to attract tourists at all.
No, but in Singapore, I remember following the story before Singapore legalized the casino. There was a huge debate in the government. But
Lee
now,
Kuan Yew opposed it.
I know, I remember that. And then the cabinet under Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong had a sort of series of debate, and finally they legalize it on the condition that Singaporeans would not be encouraged to do gambling. So they are quite serious about enforcing the law, right? That
Yes.
let's walk into a casino. Anyone can walk in any time. How do they handle it?
I think government official cannot freely enter casinos in Singapore. And Singaporean, if they want to enter, they have to buy a ticket. I don't know how much is the ticket, maybe $100. And that can stay only 24 hours.
Right. Yes. When I'm in Singapore, I talk to taxi drivers and I ask them about, do you go to the casino here? I said, no, it's too expensive. We have to pay a lot of money to get in. So, but then Thailand could use the same, sort of rules, but then it would not be enforced, right?
You all know that Thai laws, Thai rules are there to be violated. And I should like to point out, since you mentioned Malaysia, in Malaysia, I think Muslim cannot enter casino in Genting Highland. Maybe we should set a rule. All Buddhists in Thailand should not be allowed.
Yeah, because it's against Buddhism.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah. Well, if you come up with that rule, that's the end. That's the end of the project from the very start.
Or at least we should prohibit government official, military officers from entering casino in Thailand.
I think we are quite concerned about the future of the country. GDP for the past year was quite low. And the first quarter of this year, the official number will be announced Monday. And a lot of people were afraid that it would be quite low, very disappointing. So the overall economy of Thailand is suffering, really, because we have not undertaken any real structural changes seriously. This government intends to give out money, handing out money. They call it the digital wallet project, and still has not been launched. So do you see Thailand's economy compared to our neighbors in ASEAN, sliding further?
Well, I'm not an economist, but I have that impression that we are not doing so well in our economic development. Since you mentioned GDP, I think we have to be careful when we talk about aggregate or per capita, because the Thai population growth rate is declining.
Yes.
So this can offset actually the slow growth in our Thai economy, because when you divided the total, the per capita may be even rising.
Yeah. That could be quite misleading.
I think we are on the right track. Actually, we are talking about promoting new high value added industries. We are talking about electric vehicle. I just saw the news that GE is going to invest big in Thailand to produce electric vehicle. And we are still trying to move forward in our Eastern Economic Corridor. And now you talk about the land bridge.
Yeah.
So at least we are trying new things, trying to enhance our economic competitiveness. But it all still come back to our Thai politics, our corruption problem, our lack of rule of law issue.
Well, this is why, people are asking the government, well, Prime Minister said, why aren't you tackling corruption seriously? Why aren't you doing reform on bureaucracy and the police force and all this? And he has kept to his statement that he will not, in fact, he doesn't like the word reform. He wants to just, in Thai they say, พัฒนาร่วมกัน, jointly develop it with the bureaucrats. You see that as political will,
I think he may be realistic. He may know that he doesn't have much time. So he better try something that is easier to achieve.
Quick win, huh? Quick win, low-hanging fruits.
Low-hanging fruit, just buying favor from the poor people. I think that is quite a short-sighted policy or strategy. But that is the way it is. I think they just want to win the next general election.
Well, now Kun Thaksin is back. How do you see Thai politics? Well, do you see Kun Sethha having his own say? And if Kun Thaksin can call the shots, how's politics going to develop from now?
Well, it's very obvious that Kun Sethha didn't have any say about cabinet reshuffle. And that's why he had to nominate Kun Pichit Chunban. And now it become an issue, a new case in the Constitutional Court. I'm very interested to see that the State Council actually did not touch on two very important qualifications of every minister. I think the State Council only touched on the fact that Kun Pichit Chunban was sent to 6 months in jail by a court order. It's not a criminal trial. And he had been out of jail more than 10 years. I think this is the only issue. But the State Council did not touch on the two other qualifications. The issue about evident integrity.
Yes.
มีความซื่อสัตย์สุจริตเป็นที่ประจักษ์ right? And another one is the มาตรฐานทางจริยธรรม the high standard, ethical standard. I think these two issues may actually disqualify Kun Pichit, and then it can lead to the disqualification of Kun Sethha as Prime Minister also.
Right. There could be a crisis for him.
Not really. I think he's dispensable.
He's dispensable. Now
The
that
question is, Kun Thaksin will find someone else to stand in.
it's not easy to find someone else at this particular time, because his daughter, Kun Paetongtarn, doesn't seem to be ready.
No, she is still under training. I think she is under some training at the Defense College.
Oh, yes. Now, if she becomes Prime Minister, that would be another crisis.
Well, she had to be a very good leader of talking points, prepare talking points.
Yeah, right. So this, I think, is a crisis waiting to happen, because if Kun Sethha, even if he survives this constitutional crisis, he is still hanging up there with no real power. And then people will start asking questions about Kun Thaksin's interference in the government affairs. And that would, lead to a lot of dissatisfaction. Even now, the coalition partners are not too happy with what is happening with some of the major...
Well, certainly, Phumchai Thai is not very happy.
Oh, about the cannabis policy.
Yes. Well, one big disappointment to see is the return of money politics.
Uh-huh.
I thought we are leaving. We has left behind this money politics, but it's still coming back even stronger.
But then if the Move Forward Party is dissolved by the Constitutional Court and the old style parties are still, clinging to power, the next election will be a big question mark.
Well, at least we can be hopeful that more and more urban voters are looking at policy issues.
Yeah.
And they don't need bribery to vote for the party that they think is better. So that is our hope. I think that new generation of voters will take policy issues more seriously.
So all in all, you're not very optimistic about Thailand's future, Kun Tamsak.
Well, as an ASEAN person, I learned to be optimistic and then to accept limitations.
Cautious.
So I am still hopeful for Thailand.
Okay. So what do you want? What do you think Thailand should do?
That we can get better, and then we have to collectively underline or bring to attention the lack of rule of law in our justice system. I think that is the crux of the problem. If we can improve our rule of law, make our justice system more efficient, more impartial, and then cannot be bought by money, I think then we can have high hope for our future.
Yeah. And Thailand's role on the foreign policy issue in the Myanmar crisis. The former Foreign Minister Kun Panpi was talking about Troika. Plus.
Yeah, I think at least he know how to use the ASEAN mechanism and also position Thailand as the plus, as the facilitator. I think that's a good move. That show that he know how to make use of the ASEAN system, ASEAN mechanism.
But then with Kun Thaksin trying to present himself as the peace broker, talking to representatives of the ethnic groups and asking them to sign papers to authorize him to represent them. Do you see that as part of Thailand's strategy, or do you think it's his own game, Kun Thaksin's personal campaign?
I recall that Kun Prampi told Kun Suthichai that he was not aware of this personal initiative of Kun Thaksin. And from afar, I would say that this is Kun Thaksin's own initiative for his own self-interest, I would say. And those who were invited, some of them were not actually playing any significant role in Myanmar, according to my Myanmar friend. And that's why he has been revoked.
Right.
So now he's trying to do something in the Deep South, which may be very counterproductive. He is not very popular in the Deep South.
Oh, no, because history is clearly against him in the South. Some of the things he said, some of the things he did when he was Prime Minister. But then it seems that Min Aung Hlaing was ready to meet with the ASEAN Special Envoy on Myanmar, Kun Arun
Keo
Kittikul, right, from Laos. He met, and the ASEAN Secretary General was also there.
I didn't know.
I saw the picture, and the New Light of Myanmar made a big display on page 1 of the pictures. You see that as at least a small little step for ASEAN playing the facilitator's role?
Well, certainly, I think this is a positive development, and I think it is good for Myanmar military regime to return to the ASEAN fold,
Yes.
because Myanmar has benefited from joining ASEAN. ASEAN had helped Myanmar regain respect in the international community. I think Myanmar will be better off by returning to work with and work inside ASEAN.
So you see Thailand's a potential peace broker's role as quite possible if the Thai government knows how to handle that properly.
Yes, certainly. Well, starting with being the facilitator, I think it shows that we pay more attention to Myanmar. Since we are in a position to help, we should do what we can. And then also make use of the ASEAN system, ASEAN institution.
Sure. I just hope that the new foreign minister, Kun Marit Sangiampong, will continue what Kun Panpi, started in many ways, the humanitarian assistance, in the patching up with some of our friends in Indonesia, Singapore, about Myanmar. Of course, like my own information that during the previous government, the foreign minister and the Indonesian foreign minister did not really get along too well. And
well, Kun Don is not very popular.
No. And the new foreign
and he could be unfriendly some of the time, I think.
Yeah, and Kun Panpri, when he became foreign minister, tried very hard to sort of patch up and clear up some misunderstanding along the way. Kun Sihasak, I think, went all the way, to try to clear some misunderstanding in the past.
Yes, I think they were a good team, but I thought Kun Sihasak also has left.
Yeah, he has. Yes.
Oh, that's unfortunate. He was my classmate at Chulalongkorn.
Oh, really? Oh, I see.
We are in the same group.
Okay. Yeah, he's quite well accepted, not only in ASEAN, but in...
Well, he's professional diplomat and quite polite and friendly. Actually, he was the youngest in our class.
Oh.
But he was the first to rise all the way to a permanent secretary level.
Yes. So it's a pity that he has also left. Now we don't know how the foreign ministry is going to handle this issue. The new foreign minister has been following Kun Sethar to Europe. I saw him with Kun Sethar in Paris, in Milan. So he doesn't have enough time on his own to run the foreign ministry.
Well, at least he is known to be very close to Kun Thaksin.
Right.
Maybe if he has good ideas, he can use Kun Thaksin influence.
Hopefully.
Or becoming his proxy.
Yeah. But
it can be either way.
If that was the case, then you have Kun Thaksin running the foreign policy, and not the prime minister himself.
Well, that's the international dimension.
Yeah, that's unfortunate because we need a prime minister who is in charge and who can say anything that would be credible to, at least starting from our friends in ASEAN. That is he really speaking for the Thai government,
Well, that is Kun Sethar weakness. I think outsider don't see him as the real leader of the government.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have any say inside the Pheu Thai party.
No. It's Kun Paetongtarn, the party leader.
And he knows very few Pheu Thai MPs, for example.
Right. So that was his main drawback, and we don't know whether he can survive this constitutional crisis over the appointment of Kun Pichit Chunban as minister attached to the Prime Minister's office. So we will see, Kun Term Sak. Thank you very much for this very delightful conversation. Thank you, and hope to see you again. Yes.
Well, thank you, Kun Suthichai, for having me on your program. I have been a big fan of your program, especially your Kui Hey Kid.
Okay. That's
chatting on food for thought.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much. สวัสดีครับคุณเติม
ส
ศัก
วัส
ดิ์
ดีครับ
ติดตามสุทธิชัยไลฟ์กับผมทุกวันเช้าสายบ่ายเย็นมีเรื่องร้อนเรื่องวิเคราะห์เรื่องสัมภาษณ์เรื่อง Exclusive ต้องที่นี่ที่เดียวครับไปติดตามผมใน Facebook 2 เพจสุทธิชัยยุ่นกับสุทธิชัยไลฟ์และอย่าลืม YouTube ครับ YouTube ไปกด Subscribe ที่สุทธิชัยไลฟ์กด Subscribe แล้วกดกระดิ่งเตือนคุณทันทีที่สุทธิชัยไลฟ์มาในมือถือคุณนอกนั้น Twitter ไปกดติดตามและ TikTok ครับ TikTok ล่าสุดนั้นสามารถที่จะถ่ายทอดสดสุทธิชัยไลฟ์ให้ทุกท่านติดตามได้เช่นกันสุทธิชัยไลฟ์ anywhere anytime สุทธิชัยไลฟ์คือเพื่อนที่เล่าข่าววิเคราะห์ข่าวสามารถทำให้ท่านทันข่าวทุกวินาทีจากนี้ไปครับ